Okay. Let's see. Am I live? Is that working? Let's see. Ah, look at that. It appears we are working. So, hello, hello, hello. What? Okay, so this is the first time I've actually gotten the double stream to work. I'm also streaming on the Shorts feed right now, and I would love to figure out how to actually set this up so that it looks way better. Let me show you what I'm actually looking at. So let's go to me but small. Um, just gotta make sure I don't click around on here and reveal anything. But yeah, I want to make this Shorts feed looking way better, but I don't know how to edit that. That is really unfortunate. Um, Dang it. So, what I want to do in this stream is actually go over our latest video and kind of go into it with a little bit more depth. But, you know what? I think I did make. We're going to see a lot of scene switching in a second. I think I did actually make a scene that was meant to be used for both. So sorry about this. This one? No. Me but big. Me but small. Me but small 2? No, I have one that's. I don't know why I have just one that says face rotate. I have one that. Oh, right. Here we are. Okay. How does this look? So sorry if you're coming into this chaos. I'm trying to currently set up a scene to look good. Okay, let's do it on this one. To look good on both desktop and mobile, and I could not figure out a way to do it without going live. But in a second, we're going to go over the PVC pipe video that I just put down. This should only take a second. Okay, so we need to show the main monitor. That is this one right here. We need to crop it in such a way. Yes, we need to resize this in such a way that it is clearly visible for mobile as well as main viewers. So if we are here, yeah, this is really weird. You know what? I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to just say sorry to the mobile viewers because yeah, I need to be able to configure that separately. That's unfortunate. We'll still be live just in case. I guess what I can do then for this small one is put myself. Oh, this will be obnoxious. I'm going to put myself front and center just so that there's a talking head on mobile. Okay, we're going to make myself much smaller. Oh, I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that. But you see what I'm seeing here. Oh, I hate that with a burning passion. So hello. How is it going? What we're going to do today. So yeah, what we're going to do today is we're going to get off of here and we are going to go to YouTube. And we are going to go over our latest video. Actually, I don't know why I would stream it from YouTube. Let's stream it from YouTube. Actually, maybe that's good. Maybe that's a good thing. Yeah. So we just published this new video. PVC frog traps and. What I want to do is I want to go through this video today, and I want to basically just one, go through the video step by step, talk about things that like didn't actually make the cut of the video, but then I want to kind of go through it scene by scene and just break it down in terms of both the actual science aspect, the like what are we doing, why are we doing it, why did we do it this way, but also I want to then go through it and talk about it from like a content perspective so we can like depending on what y'all are interested in. We can go in about the like, how did I actually edit a certain thing? What tools did I use to go into it? Or we can just talk about the pacing of it, the narrative. I have a lot of like self critiques that I've sort of been taking in while obsessing over this for the last 3 weeks or so, and I just want to. I don't know. I realize there is intrinsic value in dissecting a piece, both for my personal development and growth, but also for you as well, from like an entertaining, informational perspective, but also from like a how do you actually educate and talk about things, right? So it's sort of like a I benefit and you benefit, and also now we have content, we have reasons to live stream every time I publish a new video. So let's hop into this. I need to figure out really quickly. I need to make sure the audio is coming through. So I will need to add in an audio output capture, and we will get the device from default. So you should be able to hear what I hear. My speakers are not that. My speakers are. Things are already breaking. Wait, let me just play this. Oh no, I'm getting audio. Okay. And I see that you are also getting audio.
I like frog.
It seems to be a little loud. I will adjust that. And then I will also make myself much smaller so that you can see the captions. But there's still me for the mobile viewers who are getting just a sliver because I don't know how to customize this for mobile. And let me just double check really quick. Okay, cool, nothing in chat. But yeah, so let's actually just go through this video then really quickly, and we'll watch it. We can watch it in its entirety, or we can go through it piece by piece. I'm not really sure what the best method is. I guess since we would want to make it something like if this was someone else's video, I'd be pausing often. So let's assume we're going to do that too. Okay, so what are we doing in this video? Well, this video is the first of a new kind of style for the channel. It's going to really just cover basically the biology that we are doing over at the GoldBerry Grove. This is a farm in West Virginia, and I guess more broadly, it's like the biology I'm doing, not necessarily just at the Grove, but anywhere. Anyways, it is following the biology of the stuff that I am doing as a biologist, right? And what I've been kind of struggling with my content for a few years now is that I really like making content like this sort of highly edited edutainment content. It's stuff that I used to do on Instagram quite a bit, but I hadn't been doing it on the main channel for a lot of different reasons. One is that I just didn't have the ability to maintain this consistently. So I focused on a lot more lower effort content, stuff that I could kind of just turn on a camera and record in front of. Just because my life had gotten kind of weird the past few years. It'd been very kind of just chaotic with grad school and moving and a bunch of other stuff. So I made this style of video fairly often for short form content. I had actually been sponsored a few times by Star Forest. They make they're like a children's music banner, like music for kids. They're awesome though. They're so cool. They like blend together a whole bunch of animal related content, and we had a few partnerships and a few sponsorships, but we only made short form videos, right? We never really did sponsorships for these longer form videos, and I loved that style, and I would put in like 10-20 hours of effort for a 1-minute short, but they were ultimately wasted because YouTube Shorts and all shorts form content for that matter is meant to be chucked into the void and forgotten about after 30 seconds. So I kind of had this thing of like, I'm honing my skills and I'm learning how to do this, but for content that is bite-sized and meant to go away and disappear. So I've been wanting to make it on the main channel, but the style hadn't been ready for that, I guess. And the specific style that is present in this video is this sort of I'm calling it digital dill. So of course my name is Dylan. So this is a digital Dylan, and the whole point is that he can kind of digitize and get down to different sizes and interact within this sort of holographic world. I'm going like way over the top on the design. It's a lot more subtle than how I'm painting it out there, but this is sort of the how would I behave if I was a digital creature that could, digitize in and out of existence. And that's just me going over the top on it, but it's how I'm like framing the overall style that we have going on here. And I think we can do like a larger discussion at some point about that style, but I also want to hone it in a little bit more over some videos. I have a lot of ideas as to what that kind of style will look like in a long-term video format series. So I guess that's sort of the main first point with this, is that this is a longer format, long-term format. It's something that I plan on developing over the next few years as we do more biology projects, more ecology projects. What I want to say right off the bat, though, with this particular video is I greatly prefer the last half of the video over the first half of the video. And not from a, it looks better or it, whatever. From a personal opinion standpoint on what I want to make, I'm preferring a little bit more of the latter half, which is something we'll talk about. But let's actually go
audio recorders or by creating specialized traps. And there is one material in the biologist toolkit that is indispensable for detecting frogs: PVC pipes. PVC pipes are widely used in the biological sciences. Their standard form, material, and low cost makes them suitable for a variety of uses. This PVC pipe can of course be used for plumbing, but it can also be used as a weatherproof housing for a sensor system or as a trap, as will be shown here. There are more sustainable materials you can use other than PVC, bamboo being a top choice. However, it is hard to discount the ubiquity and ease of access of PVC pipes, because it's not just a pipe. It's an amazing and powerful tool that we human beings have harnessed and molded into a multitude of fantastic uses. Our collective ingenuity, creativity, and gumptive potential are all held within this cylindrical plastic tube. Every round inch of PVC has the potential for thousands of uses. We, the human species, provide to tens of thousands of hardware stores and ultimately reaching millions of homes and impacting billions of lives. This isn't just a PVC pipe. It is a symbol. It is a symbol that we human beings can overcome anything with the tools around us. We don't need to rely on multi-million-dollar corporations selling you $300 fancy frog capturing kits. No, we can go down to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or that spot behind 7-Eleven and make our own frog traps. So how do we make them into traps? Well, I've partnered with the GoldBerry Grove to conduct PVC trap surveys for frogs on their property. In this video, we're going to cover the design phase of our PVC pipe traps, cover a few challenges that we had to solve, and ultimately show you how we actually designed the perfect frog PVC trap.
Okay, so that was the intro, and I really liked the intro overall. So if you kind of joined in the middle of this, I am basically going through our latest video, adding some context, and kind of talking about it as like a content dissection type of thing. So I liked the intro overall, and something that I have been wanting to do more is just more stylized intros, things that bring people in and hook the audience so that it can then be basically I want to put a lot of effort into the intro and then let the rest of the content kind of speak for itself for the last half. So that's something that I've been thinking about more heavily. With this intro, I have a few critiques for myself. The first is that I think I just was a little bit too long. I didn't need to add the bit about the PVC pipes being ubiquitous. I think it's like a good hook, and it increases the watch time till the end, like at the end of this section. But from an overall video standpoint, I kind of felt like it screwed up the pacing a little bit. Something that I want to kind of jam note right now is that I had some production related issues in the editing software that were entirely my fault. And what happened, what the result of this was, it made it very difficult for me to fix minor issues with audio and video because of just massive lag issues. And I'm a big believer in getting a project like most of the way done. Most people can't tell the difference between like your 75% and your 100%, um, except for you. So I kind of just said at some point it needs to be done, and I just got it finished. So there's some issues, some mistakes. I don't care. It's stuff I'm going to finish for the next one, or fix for the next one. And actually making stuff like this and doing stuff like this helps me a lot more. So that being said, what I would probably do in the future is be a little bit more direct about what the video is about. So that kind of last part at the end, going through saying like, here's what we're going to do. Here's the challenges we have. This should be playing like within a minute. I think I would just in the future remove that whole section. The problem was when I tried to do it, then the pacing felt really weak. And what I ultimately decided on was, do I want to waste another couple days on this, on fixing this one little issue, or do I just want to make it as a note for the next video and instead invest that 5 or 6 hours into the next video and the next piece of content? And when I frame it like that, it's just a little bit easier. So I moved on, but we can still talk about it. We can still critique it. And maybe the analytics will tell me otherwise. I don't have enough viewership at the moment to really say what is working. But yeah, kind of what I want to do with these intros is make them more stylized. And this style, where I am on top of things at different sizes, this is the style I really want to cultivate, for a few particular reasons. It was something I started to do with Instagram, purely out of a like need, because I would be out in areas like in the desert or whatever, and I had no cell reception, but I was filming things. But then I'm like, okay, well, I want to film something for Instagram, but I don't know the facts off the top of my head. And if I want to quote something, I need to know the correct numbers to quote, or the correct, ranges or whatever. So what I started doing was just taking B-roll footage, and then I would green screen myself talking over them in this exact way. And what I kind of realized is that it's really cool because you can put yourself in the perspective of the animal, right? So, this is not like, this scene is not how humans see the world. We do not look at PVC pipes like this from this angle at this perspective, but a lot of wildlife does, right? So that's something that I really wanted to explore more. I had a video on the subnivean zone, which, yeah, why don't we just go to it really quickly? Boom. Here we go. I keep talking about these short form videos. Why don't we actually just show them? So So here's one that I was talking about, where you're like putting yourself in.
This is a puffball mushroom. You can tell.
Oh my god.
This is a puffball mushroom. You can tell by the way it puffs its balls of spore into the air, allowing them to be carried much further distances by the wind.
Yeah, so this is sort of like the style that I wanted to do. A lot of these, I don't like this video, but you see the vision, right? And I want to make this a little bit higher production value. But then for comparison, on a more highly produced video, when we're talking about perspectives, You know, the Firefly one is actually a pretty good one for this. So
This is a firefly.
here's one of the old videos.
This is a firefly synchronization event. We believe that adult fireflies glow primarily to attract mates. The duration, timing, color, number, and rate of repetitions are all used by fireflies to find members of the same species. Despite this variation, only a few species exhibit phase synchronization. While we are still unsure as to the exact reasons for the synchronization, emerging research tells us some very fascinating details. From our perspective, the fireflies appear to be pulsating in sync. However, if we zoom out, we see a very different story. At high enough densities, a burst of light from only a few fireflies is enough to trigger a cascade that ripples across the entire landscape. While from our humanly perspective, it appears that the fireflies are flashing in sync, in reality, it's more similar to the wave at a football game. Hey, if you like this post, be sure to share with your friends.
Yeah, so this is like a good example of the style that I want to cultivate, and actually this scene is kind of perfect for it. So I like I was telling you about that digital Dylan kind of idea, concept, or whatever, and it's because if you're digital, you can be multiple sizes, and you can go into perspectives that would otherwise be impossible. In the same way that a cartoon can do impossible situations, a digital version of me can do digital things. And I guess there's kind of like the meta bit that I'm going for is that, we're kind of going into this AI age, and you don't really know if anything is real or fake anymore. And that's something I really want to lean into. I want to lean into kind of this like weirdness that we're in, and also the weirdness of my own life and my own career choices and my own professions. And I want to do that through a narrative lens where you're never really sure if what I'm saying is like a bit or not. I don't think I captured that very well in this video, but in the Million Mealworm video that I'm planning, that's when I'm going to go really hard on this. Is this a bit or not thing? And it's something that I think fits me and my humor really well. But also, I think it just can create this really fascinating thing. Like we're in this age of you can't trust anything, right? You cannot trust the weirdness that we see. You cannot trust anything. And then here I come with these really weird, off, like what's going on, kind of surrealist things. But everything is true, right? Like I'm never gonna put a fake animal up. If I'm gonna make a real bit about my life, which is what's gonna happen in this mealworm one, it's gonna be real. And a lot of people who know me in real life, I think the common thing is like, is this a bit? I can't tell if this is a bit. And it's just something I do well, and it's something I want to cultivate. So kind of in that same vein, being able to put myself into different sizes or into different perspectives or do things digitally that would otherwise be impossible, I'm using that as an educational tool to explain concepts in a way that makes more sense. I kind of want to break free from this, like, circle A and circle B. Here's how we describe things. It's like, I don't want to, I'm not studying a red circle and a blue circle. I'm studying a frog and a snake, right? So we kind of like have these digital tools which let us make things really easily. And I was a Flash animation nerd as growing up. So, I was on Newgrounds a ton, and even like I did Flash based animation in high school as a course and made stuff, and people thought I was going to be it. So this is sort of the style that I'm going for, I guess, is like a super roundabout long way of saying it. And yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to treat these like a director's cut. This is how I'm going to treat these live streams. So I'm just going to be talking in depth about like the creation behind it and like also the project. So yeah, I do want to like, lean into this a lot more, this style right here. I'm indifferent on the PVC love angle that I did. It was a good bit, but I think it was just poorly placed. I think it threw off the timing. But again, I don't want to spend 6 hours fixing something. I'd rather spend 6 hours on a new thing. Because ultimately, if you just spend forever on that, you're just always going to find another thing to sink 6 hours into, which is what I did. This took way too many exports. So, Let's go on to the video. Let's watch all of. Do we want to watch all of part 1? Let's watch most of part 1. Let's watch most of part 1.
The perfect frog PVC trap. Let's back up a second. What are we actually doing here? The GoldBerry Grove is a 20-acre farm in West Virginia that is starting an agroforestry operation on the property. The Grove has a vested interest in monitoring their biodiversity. In fact, they really want to see how it changes over time as they implement this agroforestry system. And so that's where I come in. My specialty has been ecological monitoring and detecting and monitoring species. Now, in the long term, we plan to have a suite of ecological and environmental sensors, but we have to start somewhere. And when you look at everything, it almost always pays to go back to a low-tech solution like PVC pipes. But why are PVC pipes an effective trap in the first place? Wildlife traps encompass any number of devices used to detect or capture wildlife. For our purposes, we're using non-lethal traps such as cameras, audio recorders, nets, pitfalls, or creating artificial refugia. When designing our traps, we design them for the target species. The target species is the individual species or a group of species that we intend to capture. So we design the traps that incorporate their behavior, their life history traits, or other variables that we can use in order to, well, capture them. Generally speaking, a good trap will limit the capture of non-target species. Non-target species being the ones that we don't intend to capture. So if we're trying to capture frogs, but a snake gets into the tube, the frog would be our target species, and the snake would be our non-target species. Best case scenario, a non-target species in the trap will just take up the space for a target species. However, in the worst case of scenarios, injury can occur to non-target species and also target species if the trap is not properly designed. So the plan is pretty simple. We need to design our traps to account for the biology of our target species, the tree frogs, while also incorporating design features so that we do not capture our non-target species. Now, right off the shelf, a PVC pipe is actually a great tool for capturing frogs. Tree frogs tend to hide away during the day, and they typically do so.
Actually, that's a good stopping point. So, yeah. So this is where let's kind of break down the last couple minutes of that, right? So that whole segment took about 2.5 minutes long. And I set it up to do a few different things. So what I've been trying to incorporate is a little bit more storytelling and like pacing to this. I do think overall on this video, the story got a little muddled and a little bit lost and everything, and that's because I think I threw too much into this. So this intro right here was like our setting the stage thing, and then I wanted to transition into something that was kind of more explanatory. And this section, I kind of hated it for a while because I liked it a lot, and I thought it was just a little bit clunky about where it was. I think ultimately what I should have done is expand this first section a little bit more, but I don't know. I think I was struggling with the intro being a little bit too long, and so my whole issue with this was that I didn't get to the plan until almost 5 minutes into the video, right? So like, what are we actually doing? Oh, we gotta wait 5 minutes to figure out what we're actually doing. So I think where I kind of struggled or stumbled really badly here is that I had like just a little bit too much going on right at the start, and it's something that I know how to fix. It's something that I know what to do. It's like everything I like in isolation, but overall there's some changes I would make. There could have been maybe some like reordering, some reshooting dialogue to make things a little bit snappier or this or that, but again, it was this thing where I was like, well, I can do all this stuff. I could spend another 10, 12 hours and basically reshoot the video. Or I could just push on, fix it for the next one. And that's ultimately what I decided to do. I recognize this is a new style. This is like a new thing that I'm trying to put together. And I find it is better to make 3 mediocre pieces of content than to obsess over one piece of perfect content, because most people will not be able to tell the difference between your mediocre and your perfect. And that is like a super unfortunate reality, but also a really good one to accept. So, when I was doing like Instagram hardcore and I was posting like 2 or 3 times a day, what I learned is that like you rapidly improve the more you put out there. So these are like, these do take me weeks to put together, but I know with each one I can get a little bit better and I develop new tools and techniques. So I also want to say that let's talk about where I messed up too. So this green screening that I did is super clean. It looks awesome. And that is because I used a new tool from Quarter Digital. They have a new green screening tool, and I added the plugin to DaVinci Resolve, added it in, and it was perfect. It was so fast to green screen. However, it was not fast to render and edit, because I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I did this, but I did not render out the green screen until, like, I just didn't do it. I added the plugin, but then it doesn't remove the green screen until the final render, is what I'm trying to say. The other way that I will be doing from now on is taking all of my green screen footage. So, if I take all of my, here we go. If I go to my, is it in editing or filming still? I think it's still in filming, editing. Here we go. PVC pipe part 1. So all of my green screen footage that I have. What I need to be doing is basically editing out a rough copy of just this green screen portion and then removing the green screen before I put it into my video editing software. Because now every time I'm editing and like scrubbing along the timeline, here I can show you. I don't know why I'm like describing it. I have the technology to show you what I'm doing. That's why I do these awesome streams. Look at that. That's a compliment. You don't get that too often. So yeah, I use DaVinci Resolve for everything. I bought a studio license years ago, and it came with the speed editor. So it was like, oh, buy the expensive speed editor, get the license, or buy the license, get the speed editor. So I was like, okay, cool, let me do that. That's a great deal. And it's a lifetime license. So I've definitely, it's paid for itself many times over. I'm on the public beta, but I need to get off of it. They just released 21 is what it looks like. Sorry. Yeah, this is my timeline for this project. I keep everything in their own clips, but yeah, if we went into this timeline for that one, all of this green screened footage is done, like live. So, no, not there. Oh, so these are I did render in a few of them. I forgot about that. Wait, where is that then? No, I didn't. I guess I rendered out these. Oh, that's why this one was moving so fast. Yeah, I don't know why. I just like didn't render a lot of these clips, and it made everything super slow. It was like a really dumb thing for me to do. Yeah, so like I just had these timelines of clips that I like did fusion on. Here we go. With like a really simple delta key and quarter key thing. And this was like, literally like a couple seconds for each clip realistically. But then I kept them here. I just didn't render them out. And this caused a lot of performance issues. Instead, I should be exporting these as clips and then putting them back in. But I had kind of just gotten into a groove and edited like the vast majority of it before doing that. And so it got to this point where I could do it, but it just, I don't know. It was a bad decision, and it just like I'll fix it for the next time. I'll fix it for the next time. But I probably did like waste a full week's of work just on lag and exporting issues because this took 3.5 hours to export, and it shouldn't. It just shouldn't. Not with my machine. It just shouldn't. So my mistake. But yeah, I kind of wanted to show you like what I did wrong with that. But to get back to the main video here, yeah, I like this explanation of like target species, non-target species. I think I just didn't really explain it all too well. I think I kind of didn't know. I feel like I just like didn't connect it really well to the topic that we're really doing at hand. Um, like it's connected, but I want it to be a little bit more connected, a little bit more flowing. I feel like I was not as I feel like I wasn't connecting the main ideas throughout the piece as well, and I think part of that is because like I had a lot of different ideas for like how to explain certain topics, and they all work individually, but they didn't work together. So I tried to link them the best I could, but I just kind of ran into issues. So I think I would have I think I would have kept this whole section, right? And like make it look the same more or less, but I would have probably reshot everything. I would have reshot the script, reshot everything. You know, it's only like a 2-minute section, but my effort would probably be another 3 or 4 hours on it. And so it was just one of these like I think I would have just explained everything a little bit more in a more scaffolded way. I'm just kind of like, wildlife traps do this. Here's a target species. Here's a non-target species. So I just kind of like struggled with this section a little bit because I liked it narratively, stylistically, in itself, but I just felt it was a little bit weird in its placement. And I think the best thing would have been to reshoot it. So yeah, I kind of struggled with this one. It may also just be that its other elements are needing restructuring, and that's why this one is in a weird spot. But once I got to this part of the video, this is when I kind of had this video, and I kind of did this video in 2 parts. So we had the first part, which was the intro and all that mess. I filmed that before I put up the frog pipes, okay? Before I filmed everything and got all that. And the goal was to film and edit the majority of the video and then go to the Grove, get the last footage that I needed for this video based on my editing choices, and then, you know, go back and do the final edits. But kind of what happened was that the project changed a little bit, and I felt that the as I was editing it, I realized that the shots that I was getting that I could create fit so much better for this last half. So I want to say that I will be utilizing this first half quite a bit, but I don't think I would have this density of motion graphics all in the first half. This second half, as you can kind of see as we scan through it, is very real focused. It's not really motion graphics focused. And I think I want to have that feel throughout most of the videos. Because right now it does feel like 2 kind of different videos. So there's some reasons for that. Again, I had like, I guess, 2 different filming locations, which also made things look a little weirder. I don't think I would have shot this intro here, like in my office, right? I would have shot it back at the Grove, just because now it's like, well, why am I in 2 different areas? And right now I am living in kind of 2 different areas, so that makes sense. But from like a video perspective, I think it was like throwing things off a little bit more. So again, it's just kind of like things were awkward because right now my life is awkward, but also I'm trying out new styles, trying out new things, and not everything's going to work, and we need to learn from it. So let's now go from where we were. We got the plan, and let's finish out part 1.
trees. Now, right off the shelf, a PVC pipe is actually a great tool for capturing frogs. Tree frogs tend to hide away during the day, and they typically do so inside of logs or crevices. These areas are protected from predators, but also tend to retain heat and moisture, two things that tree frogs need in order to live. A PVC pipe will attempt to recreate that habitat, making this an artificial refugia. The sturdy walls of the PVC will retain both heat and moisture. Additionally, they come in a variety of sizes for a variety of frogs. They can also be cut to size and modified according to your specific project specifications. Luckily, there is a large library of literature on how to create PVC traps. For our purposes, we are going to be referencing Glorioso and Waddle 2014, which is a great review paper of PVC pipe traps for frog studies. The paper goes pretty in-depth on different modifications to the standard white PVC. For example, you can have different colors, different lengths, different diameters, thicknesses, different materials, and also ways to modify the PVC pipes, such as adding a cap on the bottom or drain holes. From that literature review, we made a few decisions. Our first was to set up two different sizes of pipes, inch and inch and a half. This way we have a way to compare which our frogs actually prefer. We cut all of our pipes down to 60 centimeters, which was a pretty standard length in the literature. Once we had that, we set out the first 30 pipes around a pond. We used stakes that were made from a downed white oak in order to secure them. Now, those pond pipes will certainly capture a few frogs. However, if we really want to capture tree frogs, we're gonna have to put our pipes up in the trees. There are a few more modifications we need to make in order to hang these up on the trees. Now, lab members have already received a full lesson set discussing the rationale behind our design choices, as well as a full step-by-step assembly and instruction guide. You can find all that information down in the link below. But with that ad break out of the way, let's cut to an ad.
Hi.
Yeah, so let's quickly break that one down, because this is when I started to feel like I got the style I wanted down. So this type of scene was stuff that I had planned pretty heavily, right? I wanted to be coming out of the pipes, and I wanted that to be the kind of narrative link. So this is going back to that style of taking footage while in the field and then green screening myself over it in the future. The pipes are just like really easy to do that with, because one, you can be inside the pipe or on top of the pipes, but also they have really nice clean edges, which makes them really easy to do stuff with. Now, there was a few shots. So like this, let me see, this shot, I love this. Like this felt like the right feel of what I wanted for this type of scene. Like everything kind of fit together. It all looks like one cohesive piece, and it kind of feels a little bit like a found footage, educational public access show from the 80s. And I think also the music in this scene is really making me feel like it. And then also, I don't know why, but particularly another one of these scenes really made me feel like that. Every time I saw it, I was like, wait, this is what I want to capture. And it might, it's this scene right here. For some reason, I've always liked this scene. Every time I saw it, I was like, this all looks really good. I think what it might genuinely just be is that I'm zoomed in on the footage in the background, and my camera, it only records in 720p when it's plugged in, which is really stupid. It's a big DSLR. It can do 1080. But yeah, so it records in 720, but I think like they match together. Like the lighting looks similar, everything looks really similar, so I blend in really well. But I also like that look, and it gives me a lot more, I think it gives me a lot more creative freedom, personally. Because I'm not always going to have great footage, and a lot of stuff I record is on my phone. So this is like actual phone footage. But if I'm intentionally low resolution, that's just smarts. So yeah, I would want to, so this is something I always struggled with, and it's like talking about scientific stuff in videos. The truth is, a lot of creators clown on it, and they say it's like, this is nerd stuff, we're not going to get into it. And I agree, unfortunately. So this is maybe a good time to talk about my intentional splitting that I've been doing with content. And I am letting the papers discussions kind of exist in the lab. That is where my like educational platform thing, the Learn Adventurously Bio Club. And it's just because like, the people who want an hour-long breakdown of a paper are just not watching this video, or they're not clicking on this video to do that, right? So I would rather say, hey, here's the video. If you want us to know more, go to the lab. And that's kind of what I was doing with that ad read here. Like in this paper, we do break down this review paper in depth, and we talk about it for 25 minutes. And that's something that a very, very small subset of people actually want, especially in a video like this one that is more entertainment focused. It's meant to be bite-sized. So, I kind of struggled with like how much detail do we actually want to go in with this, because I could talk at length about how color may have some effects on frogs, or length and diameter and all the different materials and what these different modifications make. And I kind of just realized it's like, that's something we could cover in the future. That may be a great future video, but just that. Like, I can't do that and the installation and everything. So what I'm kind of doing with these videos is making these purely entertainment focused, really just harping on are these interesting to watch? Are these fun to watch? Let's actually make these like ecological methods interesting in a way. And then those technical breakdowns, those longer breakdowns, those I'm going to prioritize for the lab. I will be posting them on YouTube in some fashion, shape, or form at some point. I just am figuring out how exactly I want to do that. Most likely it will be a third channel, because the second channel is a... let me see. How do I get to the second channel? The second channel is, let's just do it on here. So YouTube PVC pipe. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
So the second channel is going to, this is actually an unlisted video. Whatever, you can see it. We're on a live stream. We're having fun here. These actually kind of show the longer form videos and a little bit more of the tutorials as well. So I do put, why is my tongue out in all of these? Really, I make these, so you can actually see this pipe versus, let's close these. This one right here, right? So you can kind of see, like, we use these shots for the main videos, but then we also put them into the second form videos, just longer. But here's like where I put in all of my wildlife encounters. So, we're about to see a water snake on the screen and all that.
Now.
And really, I just like wanted a place to put all of these clips that I just normally can't really fit into a video, right? Because it's like, okay, cool, we're making a long form video about how we actually install PVC pipes. What do I do with this snake footage? It's just kind of a distraction. So I'm making these more vlogs. Like, this is like the part 3 of putting up these, and each one is like 20 to 30 minutes long. But we also use like a lot of the same B-roll footage. So I'm just narrating over this. So
we do have a future project where we are going to attempt to sample every single tree in the woods, so that we can actually really tell you, that the.
So it's like, I'm basically, normally I would have all of this content for like one video. I'd have all this B-roll shots. I'd have all that motion graphics shots. I'd have all of these like kind of research background of how do we break down a paper. And instead of like making that all for one video, I'm kind of just splitting it up. These vlogs, the way I'm filming them, the way I'm making them, they literally take me less than an hour to put together. And I do that, very intentionally. Hold on. Is the live stream intentionally? Okay, sorry, it looked weird from my angle. But yeah, so it's just like I can spend less time on them. I can really focus on like making those just kind of entertaining, where I put stuff and where I just put like ideas without highly editing. And then this main channel is more for educating through an entertainment lens, right? So that's sort of the split I'm doing. Whenever I want to do more tutorials, though, those same tutorials, I may just put them on the second channel. I'm not 100% sure. Or if I want to make a channel just for like Learn Adventurously, and that's where I put like full mini courses. The other option is to just do longer courses and put them on this main channel. Like I'm thinking about doing like a education week or something where every day I post like a main educational video and we kind of make it like a bigger event, and then I do a bunch of live streamed webinars every single day. But the reason for concentrating it there is because those pieces of content are not like, how do I put it? If they show up in your recommendeds, they are not something you're going to want to click. Like you're not going to want to be like oh, here's how you, do a statistical analysis in R. Here's how you write a linear model and, make sure you can analyze moon cycle data. You're just not going to like click on that immediately. That's something you're going to Google and find. You're going to look it up later, or you're going to look it up when you are like doing an analysis on that. So those are more searchable videos, and that's where like a lot of my videos have been, is they've been those tutorial things. And I want, for my main channel, I want stuff that people will click on. I want stuff that is going to be like, I want to watch this now. I want to see this next thing. And I feel like I've been kind of half going for that and half doing this tutorial stuff. The tutorials are really good and they're really useful and they definitely have their place. But I'm just kind of thinking about what is going to have the greatest impact and what is the best way to deliver that tutorial-based content. So, yeah, I was sort of just being pulled at all parts. So the main thing is that the vlogs stuff is going to go here now. I'm going to put updates here, vlog stuff here, and then the main channel is probably just going to be that entertainment stuff with educational content, like with courses and bigger tutorials. They're just going to all come out sort of at once so that you can search for them later. That's just kind of what I want to do. And then also it means that we can do like a live workshop or a live mini course live on YouTube and make it free and just do it for like a week straight, but do it something related to one of our videos. So I have some ideas for all of that. I still want this channel to like have those tutorials, but I think like focusing in more on the webinar angle where we're doing live streamed webinars and leaving those up is maybe a great option. However, there is just putting it up on a third channel just for Learn Adventurously. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be down to redo all of our best videos because a lot of them I want to make some updates for. But yeah, so that's just something I've been like thinking about a lot, and I feel like this was a good point to talk about the differences between the different content points, and I think I got a little bit distracted, as I do. So let's now, yeah, and then also this ad right here, right? Because this is kind of showing it, right? Like, here's how we do it step by step, you know? And I also want to like note that all of this information, it is not paywalled. It is literally in these vlogs. Like, I literally show it to you here step by step. How to install it, how to do everything. I just put stuff up on the lab that is more focused. So I'm literally using the same footage, but I just kind of pare it down. I add a 30 step-by-step because the truth is, a step-by-step instruction guide just can't go on YouTube, not effectively, right? Yeah, you can do it and you can like skip through the video. I mean, I guess I could do that, but you could also just support me directly or whatever and get this. Or you could just watch the video. Like, you could already just watch the video and get this basically step by step. But yeah, I'm still struggling with how I want to put everything. But yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say here other than I try to make the lessons very directed in the lab and on the videos. They are passively embedded, but they're also mixed in with like snake pictures and finding box turtles in the woods and stuff like that. And then these main videos are just meant to entertain you, right? So kind of creating a whole content ecosystem that does everything all at once. So yeah, now let's talk about entertainment. Let's go to an ad.
Let's cut to an ad. Hi, Dylan here with the frog pipe. You're gonna find a frog every time you look in this pipe. Now, a regular PVC pipe, you get a frog, what happens? Boom, it just falls right on through. Not with the frog pipe. You see, we have a cap system. Frog goes in, frog stays in the tube. This is for the swamp, it's for the forest, it's for the field, it's for the pond. Every single frog pipe can hold 20 times its weight in frogs. Look at this, it just does the work. Why do you want to work twice as hard? Every frog pipe comes with built-in drain holes. You get 15 centimeters of water, but don't worry, it's never gonna overfill. It's never gonna come out the top because we got the drain. And what happens whenever you need to get rid of it? Well, you just pop the cap. Made in garages. You know the garages make good things. Now check this out. Every single frog pipe has holes right in the top. What do we do with those? All we do is we feed a line through, bang. You can hang up 1 pipe, 2 pipe, 3 pipe, 4. Start with a few, you can always add more. You may be wondering, what is this black line for? Well, let me tell you. Small mammals like this flying squirrel love the pipes, but the problem is they get in and the walls are smooth. They get trapped, they can't get out. Oh no, now you got a squirrel in the pipe. Well, all we're gonna do, add a little escape rope. So we take our line, we put it in, and then we give it a good old shake. Sometimes need it twice, boom, you now have an escape rope. When the squirrel gets in, climbs right on out, just like an Olympic spelunker. But this isn't a mammal trap, no, it's a frog trap. So what do you have here? A tree frog, Hyla, Smoliska, Dryophytes, it doesn't matter. You have a frog in the pipe and now you gotta get it out. We're gonna do this in real time, okay? You take the end cap off the bottom and then you take a plunger. You go in right through the bottom, very easy, and boom, your frog comes out the top. But don't stop there. Keep going, light pressure, and then boom, a second frog has come out of the pipe. You take them out, you take some pictures, you take your measurements, but a frog in the hand worth 2 in the pond. So you put them back there. Done. You following me, camera guy? The frog pipe. Every time you look in, you're gonna say, frog!
And this does it all. This pipe here is amazing.
So many frogs with these things, even some jumping spiders.
These frog tubes are the best frog tubes I've ever had.
You're already spending thousands of dollars on expensive frog traps. The frog pipe is $19.95 for 4 pipes. That's 1 for the pond, 1 for the field, and 2 for the swamp. But if you subscribe in the next 20 seconds, you can get an additional 4 pipes for the price of 4. That is 8 pipes for the cost of 8. We can't be doing this all day, but I'm gonna do it for you. It comes with no warranty, and here's how you can order.
Yeah, so basically the whole Act 2 is just a ShamWow parody. So that one was actually like a lot of fun to put together. If I'm being honest, this is one of the most frustrating filming experiences though I have ever had. It was just this thing where like everything kept going wrong. I was really struggling to get a tarp set up. This is not the tarp I wanted, but it's the tarp we got, and I just said, screw it. We're gonna make it look like it's in a garage. I don't care anymore. And I also just like, it was just like this like awful set of independent things where people just like were coming and going, and everyone had like a right and a purpose and a reason for like coming and going or being loud. But it was just like I don't think I have a single video clip from this session that was longer than 5 minutes. Because I had to like, it was just a lot of noise, you know, where it was just like, it's a multi-use space is what it is. And then of course we had the chickens, and then it was just like this, like, like, can I just get a moment type of thing. But in terms of how this fit in, also I didn't put their names and everything, but this is Josh, this is Abigail. They are the co-owners of the Grove, so I made sure they had some cameos. And then this is Wes. He runs the nursery at the Grove. So yeah, so you know, I'm trying to like incorporate people more. And the skit I really liked. I dedicated myself, and also Abigail drew the flying squirrel and the frog. So yeah, I should say that. But yeah, so I basically copied the ShamWow pitch scene for scene, just kind of making it more about the tree frogs and making our own demonstrations and whatnot. I I feel like it went on a little bit too long. That's my personal belief. I think it's just I think I could have just done some of the skits a little bit faster, maybe cut out a few portions. But I liked it overall. Again, though, my thing was I feel like these two scenes, this whole thing where we're talking about the different types of tree frogs, I feel like I just didn't link them too well. Right? So I felt like it was just like a what's going on? Why am I getting an advertisement for the frog pipe? And I think I salvaged it in this third section. Let me actually, I guess I should have.
But I'm going to do it for you. It comes with no
section.
warranty, and here's how you can order. Salesman. All of our PVC pipes come equipped with an end cap, drain holes 15 centimeters from the bottom, an escape rope for small mammals, and additional holes at top to hang them via a paracord. Now, we already placed 30 pipes around the pond, and we went back and we added escape ropes to all of those. Now we're going to place 60 pipes out in the woods.
So it's one of these things where, like, I did say it. Like, I did say, here's what we're doing. Here's what our pipes have. Here's, like, I am being explicit about it, but I just feel like it wasn't well communicated, right? I feel like I could have leaned more into the narrative of creating these pipes. I think I really should have done that. And there was a note I took for myself. It's something I considered trying to add into this video. And again, it was just like, do I want to spend another week on this, or do I want to just take these criticisms and put them into the next video and intentionally design the next video with these criticisms in mind? I am being very critical of my own work, but that's just what I do to improve, right? And I don't necessarily see this as like, this is awful, this is terrible. Like, I'm really proud of this. I'm really happy with how this came out. Like, I was gassing myself up at certain scenes, and I think, like, I'm proud of every scene individually, but there were mistakes I made on the production side. There were mistakes I made on the story side, and just sort of minor issues related to it's already this way and it's going to be too hard to change it. So, yeah. And again, it's like most people are going to be fine with it. Most people are not going to be thinking like, he should have shaved those 15 seconds off. I'm going to click off now. I know that's not the case. It's just I make these critiques for me because also, someone has to. And also, like, I've, watched this thing like a few dozen times now, so I have a different understanding of, like, I've watched it now a million times. It's like, I could have said that a little bit better. I could have changed that up a little bit. But again, notes for next time. So let's finish out this last half, or let's finish out the whole video. This last portion is actually my favorite, and it is what I want to channel more of in the future for all future videos. So.
Why are we actually doing this? Like I said at the top of the video, we are monitoring the biodiversity at the GoldBerry Grove, and the PVC pipes are just one tool that we are using to do so. We settled on pipes for a variety of reasons. One, they're pretty cheap to get, and we can install them in a variety of locations. If we ever need to take them down, they're super easy to uninstall. Second, they are a semi-passive type of trap. Whenever there's end caps on the bottom, you should be checking them regularly. However, you can do like what we did and just take the end caps off and, well, not have to check them regularly. And they are a really good tool for education. So of course we want to run in-person workshops where we actually teach people how we sample for frogs using PVC traps. But I'm also uploading lessons to the Learn Adventurously Bio Club and developing a full ecological research course for the lab. Now we'll be checking these pipes in a few months, so absolutely stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we have multiple projects coming up, such as our Million Mealworms project, further ecological monitoring at the Grove, as well as some very interesting sensor technology that we're developing. Now, lab members got one additional benefit, and it's that they got to see this video and the in-depth update vlogs early. So if you want to check that out, you can join the lab down at the link down below. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I've been advertising to you for like 20 minutes now. It's insane. So these two were the final pipes that we needed to put up for study for today. And what I learned from doing this, we set them up again into 3 different zones. And 3 different zones were actually really well selected. All of them are riparian in some way, whether that's coming from runoff, creeks, springs, or just where water will collect. But in the first zone, there's a pretty even mix of maples and oaks. In the second zone, it is predominantly maples. We were really struggling to find oaks. And in this zone, the last zone, it is predominantly oaks. We're struggling to find maples. So whenever we actually do our analysis, or analyses, we'll actually have some really awesome data sets and groupings to compare to one another. So this is a super long-term project. We're going to be collecting data realistically for years. But hey, you'll see the results first here on the video somewhere, wherever this video ends up. So want to let you know that I'm very, very excited for this study. So, see ya.
Okay, yeah. So that last part of the video is definitely what I want to do more of in the future. And what I mean by, I want to do more of this, I really, really, really liked this whole intro. This whole kind of walking through the woods, getting all connected to the beat of the music and all that, and doing some like fancy editing tricks and all that. I want more sequence breaks like this where I just do fancy editing with the B-roll that I take. One, just from a production standpoint, it's a lot faster than having to do obviously these highly edited pieces. These I want to save for educational portions where we are explaining a concept. However, what I want then is basically imagine this exact same video, okay? But then right at the intro, I have a whole section like this, but it's us assembling the pipes. So that was something that I think I should have added to the video, right? I should have done, but with the way I set up the narration and the script and here's, we did this, we did that. And then I have this ShamWow skit. It was just kind of hard for me to fit it in with the footage that I had. I had limited footage from the first part as well, because I really only thought about this one scene, about me standing in front of the cutter thing. But when I went to add it in, the narration didn't work for this part of the scene, and I wanted it to be a multi-minute long scene, and it ended up just being a few seconds because it just didn't work with the narration. So this was just sort of a thing of the idea got sort of clogged up with the execution, and all of the elements work and have their place, but altogether it just didn't mesh the way that I wanted to. But I also really love this last part, a lot. And so it kind of sucks that it's my favorite part is at the end, when something like this should be at the beginning, right? So I kind of did it with this portion right here. What I think I would have done is replace this whole rant I had at the start with a better introduction of what we're doing at the Grove, right? So, we have this footage of me catching a pickerel frog. I think I would have maybe done a little bit more in between and added more of these sort of B-roll breaks. I just did not develop a narrative that fit these B-roll breaks, if that makes sense. When I tried to add them in, it just felt like we were getting distracted from the story. Which unfortunately makes this last piece feel out of place even though it's not, right? It's like this is what I wanted throughout the whole piece. Like I wanted this, funky, you could see it here. Like I started here at the pond and whatnot. So I think I just like didn't connect our starting point to our ending point very well. That's ultimately where I think I made my biggest mistakes. And again, something I'll do for the future. And like I do want to state that like I am being very critical of myself, but it's not a big deal. It's not in a mean way. It's just I want to like talk through like what I'm thinking, and these critiques are how we improve, and I need to be able to self-critique. But yeah, so like I loved this last portion, and I think I milked the narration a little bit intentionally just because I liked the shots so much. I really debated what elements I wanted to put up, and I just kind of wanted the nature itself to speak for itself. Unfortunately, my camera just isn't that great. All these were shot with my phone, and I'm working with what I got. But
We'll be checking
and
these
I'm not a
pipes.
great color grader. But hey, it's like we're learning, and the next stuff will maybe shoot them a little bit better, maybe not. The beauty of like how I'm approaching this is that in the future I can get a better camera. I know I can get something that's nicer. I can get something that's higher resolution, all that, and yeah, cool. It'll just improve what I'm already making instantly without me putting in any effort. I don't want to put any effort into making the gear, especially when I have no budget for a gear. Instead, I'm going to create with what I have and work on these tools. And if you want, to see more pixels, I don't know, subscribe, send a gift, do some ad reads. But yeah, so kind of going back to this digital dill thing is that I can put myself anywhere and any size, anything. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I think it just adds a little bit more nuance, a little bit. It allows me to add not nuance, but like fun, whimsy into it. Like you never know what's real in the world. You never know what's actually added in. But I feel like I can play around with context and framing and scenes and emotions in just like a lot of really fascinating ways. Like I can tower over something or make myself look small in comparison to like indicate an emotion that I'm feeling. So kind of where I'm going with the like some of my inspirations for a lot of this is like, Magic School Bus, of course. I'm thinking of like going into the body or going into space, and the school bus can do that. And I have my own version that I'm working on. That will be that. But also I've been thinking a lot about Alton Brown's Good Eats. That's been like a big inspiration because it's communicating for an adult audience, but through entertaining ways. So that's something I'm kind of trying to incorporate with skits and everything, but just instead of doing like practical effects, I'm doing more digital effects. So yeah, I like this piece, this ending piece as an ending piece. I really like it as an ending piece. What I would do differently is interject this style more through the opening scenes. I think I kind of half did it, and then again I was like too far in. I had really messed up my production workflow, and I was working with what I had, and I did a really great job with what I had. I just know there are things that I would do differently from the start to make it better. And even if like I had made the video exactly as I had just said, I would probably still have critiques as this scale. I would just critique very minor things or very nuanced things, right? Yeah, so if we go through the rest of the video, I wanted to like promote the vlog a little bit more just because I realize that there's people who want to see all the stuff that we're seeing and doing. And I think that promoting it in the main video is being like, hey, if you want to see the more stuff, go check out the vlog. There's also like a card up here that you can go see the vlog and whatnot, and there's like related content and stuff. So I'm adding it into there. I like the framing of this. I do just feel like I was advertising a little bit too much at the end, and I don't like that. Because I was advertising at the 7-minute mark, and then I advertise again 5 minutes later. It's not, I kind of made a joke about it. It's probably not that much, but for me, it just feels like a little bit too much, especially if you don't have YouTube Premium and you were already served like 3 ads beyond my ads. 5 ads in a 14-minute span is an awful viewing experience. Get Premium, technically 5 ads because I also made a frog pipe ad, and then I also just got monetized, by the way. So I was like, I put the ad right before the ShamWow ad. I will try to edit the ads so that they are at like good points in the video, because as a creator, I don't want the flow that I'm trying to instill to be destroyed by an ad. And then as a user, I know it's like you want natural ad breaks. Unfortunately, I'm worried about drop off, but whatever. So, yeah, so kind of where we're at, though, with this project overall. Oh, yeah, also, I want to include just more shots of me speaking in the field. I think that's just necessary. I kind of should have done that up here, and I think that would have solved a lot of my, like, personal issues, but I was filming in 2 locations. Currently, I am, like, 4 hours away from the Grove, so if I don't film there, I can't film there. And I didn't want to do another green screen thing. I want, like, setting changes is the problem, so things I'll fix, things that won't be an issue in the future because I'll be moving out there and all this stuff. But yeah, so I just want to like kind of cap this off with maybe a quick little update. So we installed all of the pipes. Let's just go to the big one, me but big. So we installed all of the pipes. We installed 90 of them. 30 went around the pond. 60 went out into the woods. The 61s were in 3 different zones. And yeah, it was a project that we had been kind of developing for a few months. It is something that I've been wanting to put out for a while. But like we said in the video, the main point of the pipes is to monitor for tree frogs, but also to use as educational tools. So we'll use them for some like in-person workshops, but also I'll be using them as kind of educational props for the Learn Eventually Bio Club. So we'll be making some like study design things, some sampling stuff. We'll make, of course, more educational content based off of them. Expect a video in 6 months. It's like, I put 90 traps out in the trees. Here's what I found. Shocking. Blah, 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 blah. Million views. Give me money so that I can buy a bus and live in the bus. Yeah. And then right now I'm going back into the Grove in a few days. And we'll be doing a few more ecology projects while I'm out there. My kind of loose goal is to do a deep sampling of the pond and try to get a solid species inventory with a future video on the macroinvertebrate sampling. We need to get a dissecting microscope, and I want to see if we can purchase a digital one. See if I can convince someone to purchase that for me. But yeah, so I have a few plans. Basically, the plans for all of these main channel videos going forward is I'm looking at a new video every 2 to 3 weeks. That's my current timeline. Eventually, I want to get it down to once a week. We'll figure that. That's a when I have an editor type of thing. But what am I trying to say? The overall gist is I'll be basing them on my own research, okay? And what I want to do is basically have a bunch of great B-roll footage of me doing the research, and then using green screens to put myself into the shots to explain the research later on, so that I can kind of like, while I'm actually doing the work, I don't have to worry about explaining things perfectly. I don't have to worry about educating. I don't have to worry about that. I can still take these educational clips and explanations and use them, of course, but I rely on the editing room to set the narration that I want, to set the narrative that I want, to set the style that I want, the framing that I want. And the footage then is just to supplement that. Now, in about a month or so, I will be living at the GoldBerry Grove way more full-time, and all of my videos will basically be done on site. So the ability for me to film more and do more will be a lot easier. Currently, I've been a week there, a week somewhere else, a week there, a week somewhere else, and it's just been difficult to be consistent with this, and that's why I made some design choices on this video the way I did. For future ones, I won't have that issue. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm excited. It's a weird living situation, but I'm excited for the setting and the scene for these future videos and kind of how I'm gonna play with it. Yeah, that's to come. But yeah, so basically the sorry, I'm ADHDing like crazy today. The video concept will be to follow the work that I am doing, but then make these like very narrative driven, sort of very traditional YouTube style videos. And I know that's not me, but small too. There we go. These like very narratively driven YouTube style videos. And what I mean by YouTube style videos is stuff that, like, I want to do like some challenge videos, right? I want to do things that are like traditional YouTube formats, but for biology. And I want to cultivate this style, but in a much lower intensity way. So, like I kind of said already, whenever I make a scene like this, these scenes actually don't take me that much time to create. Like, actually not that much time at all. These are really easy for me to put together, and I really want to add these in to the videos as sort of like their own self-contained segment, and I just want to use them for education. So that way, again, when I'm in the field, I don't have to worry about crafting a good lesson, right? I can make a really fascinating, because also just some things are better done with graphics, right? This one, maybe not so much, but I've done things in the past where it just makes more sense to have a whiteboard drawing it out behind you. Where I can do it in the field, but the hours I would spend in the field wouldn't be as effective or as entertaining as making it in this way. And in fact, this whole scene, if I didn't have all those production issues that I created, I probably would have made it in under an hour. Like, it's really not that much effort for me to add in, and it adds such a unique twist to things. Because really, it's just me narrating. I just make a green screen narration of the concept, and then it's just a bunch of camera switches. The green screen takes almost no time. A lot of these are just PNG images that I stitch together, and then I just explain the concept and use whatever visuals are best used to explain that concept. So, yeah, it's like, it looks complicated, but it's not, I guess. And like all of this too, the tools that we have now for rotoscoping and extracting things are ridiculous and kind of crazy. So I'm going to do this way more often. This is definitely the style I'm going to cultivate, but I want this to not be the main part of the video. I don't want to waste like 3 weeks on making all of this. I just want to use these sparingly. And instead, I really want to focus more on content like this, but making it this more stylized way. So I really want to be leaning into these last 4 minutes of this video. Not constantly narrating over it necessarily, but doing more of these like fascinating shots, kind of syncing to the music, funness, I would say, and breaking to these types of shots for education, right? So yeah, it's just gonna take some finagling and making sure things are done right. Like this, I think my problem is this intro felt too much like this educational site, right? Like it's the same type of style, but I should have basically leaned in a little more on this. I think I should have stayed longer on this sunset PVC pipes, the ones at the start of the study. So like instead of doing this whole thing that I did, whatever I did, this whole bit, I think I would have rather explained. Yeah, how would I have done this? I feel like I would have explained this part. Maybe I should have explained this more. No, because I would have wanted a shift to the desk. This is like a scene change that I wanted. Because I do these as my I don't want to set up the green screen and I need to explain something shots. Which will be filmed inside of a tent coming up or outside. Yeah, I think what I just need to really do, is think about when do I green screen myself in versus when do I talk. See, because like this, like I don't want to, like this is a perfect example of why I want to green screen myself in, right? If I'm talking about the paper, dude, I don't want to have to look up the paper in the field. I don't want to look at my notes while I'm in the field. I don't want to have to remember Glorioso and Waddle, whatever year this was, did it and said this and that, and they referenced this and that. Like, it's just too much, and it's something that I need to say on a script with notes. Because even if I have it in the field, I may say it wrong. And it's just something I don't want to do, and I don't want to do just narration for everything, right? I think there are tangible benefits to having a person visible, right? And I think some of it is, one, connection, right? I think like I'm trying to form a personal connection with the viewer, and having a human to look at does that. Two, I think that we're losing a lot of icons in wildlife and education, and I think it's harder to do that when you're just a voice behind a screen. And also, I think there's like, you can understand people better when you can kind of look at their lips moving, right? So for that type of stuff. So, you know, just a lot of reasons, but also I think like you just form a better connection with the audience, and that makes for a better viewing experience, you know? So this is something I would green screen myself in, and I don't know how I want to do this background in the future, right? So I don't know if I want to, you know, maybe this is something I should have done with more B-roll footage like this. Maybe instead of this nondescript background, I should have done something more like this, right? But what I think my struggle was, I was just sort of talking about stuff. And then if I'm doing something in the background, it's like, well, wait, why am I doing that stuff in the background? I'm talking about this paper. I originally, I think, put myself over like one of these things when I was talking about the paper. And I felt it was just like distracting. So yeah, you know, I did just kind of struggle with how to put it in the scientific paper side. And I think this section could have been developed way more, but I didn't know how to develop it without wasting another 10 hours. And, you know, I was like, well, how much of a benefit am I really adding versus just listing out all the considerations and modifications and then just saying, here's what we did. We did this. I do think, though, I maybe should have gone into the different considerations, but I didn't plan to, and I didn't structure the whole video with this in mind. So I recognize there's some educational benefit to doing this, but I also thought that going in depth on these different considerations and modifications would have overall been bad. I think it overall would have been too boring for the viewer. And that's why I didn't. So, yeah, so sorry, I just have like so many different design considerations with this. But the thing is, if I reshot this video, it would be 1,000,000% better, right? And the next video will also be better. And right now, I think I'm just kind of going in circles on this video, and I've talked about it in depth. We'll be setting up more PVC pipe projects. I'm going back next week to do more ecology surveys. I'll be doing some more pond sampling, and I think I'll make a few videos about that and like how we're sampling the pond and kind of try to make it into a bigger thing, you know, a little bit more of a fancy dancy doodad. It'll probably be a 3-parter that we'll eventually make. So the first would be, yes. I just thought of something beautiful. Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Here's the thought. So we have to sample a pond. We need to do a full biodiversity study. We can make one video out of it. It's a lot of work for one video. Maybe we should, but I think otherwise. Instead, why don't we make 4 videos? What? That's crazy. Actually, let's do 3. I choose 3. Why? Because it fits better with what I'm thinking. Now, they're all going to be linked narratively, and we're going to try to like keep them consistent, okay? My issue right now with the pond is that I need some supplies before I could fully sample them. So I could either wait a month before I have all my content, or I could just put some stuff out while I get the other supplies. So I'm thinking for this first one, we can do a very general survey, okay? And then the second one, I want to do a macro invertebrate survey. And the third one, I think I want to try and set up some audio recorders, okay? And what I realized just now in my infinite wisdom is that we can do it like morning, daytime, night. And we set that up narratively, okay? Where it's like during the morning, we're going to go out, we're going to do bird surveys, we're going to look up for some plants before it gets too hot. We're going to do like maybe some insect surveys. Basically, we are going to do a visual encounter surveys in the morning is what we're doing. I'll throw in some like quadrat surveys. I think it'd be really fun to do that, and also some like intensive surveys. And I think that'll be a great video by itself. I think we can really narratively get into that and get into some species ID and get into a more animal focused video, because this last one didn't have as many animals as I thought. Then, oh, and we could do some like species total thing and tally them up. Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. Okay. Now, the second video then, we'll do an aquatic survey, because when it's hot out, you get in that damn water. So, and I'm already going to do this. I'm already going to start like sampling it next week, but then I can focus on my macroinvertebrate surveys later on. Like I can wait a month if I need to. So I can get myself the microscope that I need and a few other supplies. I need some dip nets. I just need a few different things. But we can make it like fully aquatic, and that's like the part 2 is just focusing on aquatic surveys. You know, how do we figure out macroinvertebrates and macrovertebrates, and just like how do we actually sample this pond and figure out what fish we have, what snakes we have, what frogs we have, but also what larvae do we have, what eggs do we have, what this and that. And I'm already collecting some footage, but we want to turn it into something fascinating. So I need like a spin for each of these. The first one, yeah, like this is where I'm thinking of like YouTuber styles and conventions and stuff. So I'd probably like go through some videos and try to figure it out, but I'd probably make it into some sort of challenge video, or I would really go into the storytelling angle, right? And maybe be a little bit more narratively driven with it and do something a little bit off. Like, what is the overarching story that we can create amongst these 3, right? Yeah, but anyways, second one will be about aquatic surveys. I'll figure out some narrative thing. I just need to think about that. But then the last one will be nighttime, and we do like a night herping session, because it's about to be really good night herping coming up. And then we also try to organize some audio recorders, and we can also then get bats detection. I want to make my own audio recorder. That would be a great time to talk about that too. And then we could launch into the mic. Ooh, this might actually work really well. Because if we just focus on these 3 videos for like 6 weeks, I can probably... Okay, so I have a mealworm set of videos coming up. I'm probably going to be a 2-parter on those. And then I have a sensor technology videos coming out. And I'm just wondering, I think I'll just tease the sensor tech in this video, this pond videos. And then I'll do the mealworm videos. Those should be ready to do by this timeline, this hypothetical timeline. I believe so. And then I can focus on the sensor tech videos. Yes, I can do that. And then I'll need to figure out some other videos, but those will be very, very doable. I just need to consider if I want to do another one related to the pipes before I do the pond sampling. And it might be smart to do that because it might be easier to do that. We would talk about the study design more than anything else, actually, on the pipe videos. But how can I make that interesting? Okay, so I guess where I'm at is like I have some ideas for the content in the future. And there's just a few moving pieces I need to look at because I'm also going to be out for a month or two, like out of country. I'll still be at a place where I can make awesome content. I just need to adjust for that. So there'll be a few months where I am showing off Portuguese wildlife or European stuff. Also, yeah, if you're watching this and we know each other, like, we have DM'd more than once. And actually DM'd, not just you send me reels that I don't watch. And you live in Europe. And you actually know how to spell my name. And I probably know your name. Reach out to me. Let's make some stuff. But with that, I'm gonna tune out, man. It's late, and I've been yapping. I'll be doing these videos after every single live stream. I also want to do more live streams. I want to do some co-working streams. We're gonna bring those back, especially when I get into some hardcore video editing. I want to do some editing streams like that and show things off early and, you know, offer that benefit again. I think we really benefited from the co-working streams. I will have to figure out how to make them work well on mobile as well. And clearly, we can go back to here. Yeah, I just need to make this work all a lot better. That is not... Oh, yeah, how does the stream look now? I don't care about that. I want to care about now. Yeah, so I need to figure out how to make this all look better for mobile. And also how to make this just a more enjoyable stream overall. But with that, thank you for learning it adventurously, and I'll see you at the next video or in the next stream or whatever the hell we are doing. I will be doing more mobile streams as well, so check out for that, and see you later.